What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Trey Jones. Today I'm going to be giving you 10 anxiety disorder risk factors. Go ahead and smash the like button down below if you're ready to kick anxiety in the butt. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you have any of these 10 anxiety disorder risk factors. These are 10 common risk factors. Obviously, there can be many more factors when it comes to anxiety disorders, addictions, depression, but I wanted to narrow it down to 10. Wouldn't it be nice if there were only 10 risk factors? It'd be a lot easier to diagnose and to manage. But guys, I'm not a professional, I'm not a therapist, not a psychologist, psychiatrist, or medical doctor. I cannot diagnose you with any anxiety disorders or depression or any issues like that. You need to see a professional. I encourage you to do that. So why is it important to know these risk factors? Hey, it may push you in the right direction. Maybe it'll lead you to go to a therapist or to a medical doctor to get a diagnosis, okay? Maybe you have one or more of these risk factors. Just because you have one or even 3 or 4 of these doesn't necessarily mean you have an anxiety disorder. Don't make that assumption. See a professional. Now, on the flip side, if you have an anxiety disorder, this is a great video for you to watch all the way to the end, because one of these 10 risk factors could be a root cause for your anxiety. It could be something that means much more than just being a risk factor. It could actually be the straight up cause of your anxiety disorder. And we all know to recover from anxiety, we have to identify and eliminate and work on our root causes. Some of you may have one, some of you may have 10, okay? I had multiple myself, and a few of these fell under these risk factors. So with that being said, we're gonna jump right into this. The first one is pretty obvious, but some of you may have not put 2 and 2 together, but genetics can play a significant role on whether you have an anxiety disorder or not, or being prone to anxiety. Just because somebody in your family has anxiety disorder, or you have many people, or say everybody in your family has anxiety disorder, it doesn't necessarily mean you are going to automatically have an anxiety disorder. It means you're genetically prone. I still believe that anxiety is a learned behavior, and I think environmental factors play a bigger role, for instance, in developing anxiety disorder, but genetics can still play a really significant role. I did a video on this the other day. For instance, I'm not gonna bore you with a ton of stats, but if you have OCD in your family, if somebody has OCD, just one person, you're 10 times more likely to have OCD, okay? Pretty freaking crazy and astounding. If you have panic disorder, you are 50% more likely to have somebody in your family as well that has panic disorder. So obviously genetics play a very big role in anxiety, but it's not a death sentence. It doesn't automatically ensure that you are gonna have an anxiety disorder. You can still carve out your own path, so that's the good news. The next one, guys, is divorce, widowed, death in a family, death of a family, death of a friend as well. Whenever you lose somebody forever, whether that be physically or just, emotionally as in a relationship, that's very, very tough. Divorce is horrible, and divorce is at all-time highs right now. So obviously that's going to lead to more things like suicide, depression, anxiety, stress, and obviously, can't even get it out, can't talk. Whenever you lose somebody, that's very, very tough. Some of us are lucky and haven't had to lose somebody close to us, but that is very, very traumatic. And my heart goes out to you if you've lost somebody close. I definitely know how that feels. The next one, guys, is another tough one, and that's substance abuse. We really don't realize sometimes that addictions can mess with our mental health. It's a mental issue itself. But I'm not just talking about drugs and alcohol and tobacco. It can be things like caffeine. It can be food, okay? And just addiction in general. Social media can lead to anxiety and depression, okay? Just being glued to that phone, staying on the TV, staying on video games, doing things like that nonstop and not getting out, not interacting with people on a personal level can also lead to anxiety disorders. But as far as substance abuse, guys, it's tough because you're relying on that substance to be happy, and in fact that could be ironically depressing when you get caught up in that vicious cycle. That was definitely something that led to my panic disorder. The next one, guys, is health problems. Obviously, more so chronic health problems like heart disease and cancers. People with heart arrhythmias and thyroid problems have been linked with anxiety disorders as well. And that's not to scare any of you out there. I know I have a health anxiety audience. This is people that have been diagnosed with health issues and chronic diseases. Obviously, they're going to have some type of depression and anxiety that goes along with that. The next one is going to be traits of shyness or behavioral inhibition as a child. I know a couple people that were, that went to school with me that were very quiet and very shy, that turned out to be pretty much socially anxious as they got older and dealt with anxiety. So that's just something else to keep an eye on, especially if you have a child. Just keep an eye on them whenever they're young, see if they have any of these traits. The next one is being a woman, and I'm not trying to single you ladies out. There's a few reasons for this, and this is quite interesting. I think I did a video, yes, I did a video over this a very long time ago. This is pretty interesting stuff. Obviously hormones, okay? Menstrual cycle, being on your period, and pregnancy, okay? Those can lead to anxiety issues and maybe eventually an anxiety disorder, and depression. Postpartum depression is another big deal. Also cultural expectations and actually being diagnosed. More women will actually become concerned and go get a proper diagnosis from a doctor. There's a lot of men out there that have not been properly diagnosed or diagnosed at all. A lot of this comes down to pride, trying to be strong for your family, being ashamed or being embarrassed, not wanting to be weak. So a lot of men follow into that category, and I think that also leads, the numbers to be a little bit more deceiving for women. But in general, those three things can be risk factors as well. The next one's going to be obviously depression. Half of people with depression also have an anxiety disorder, also a history of like self-harm or suicidal thoughts. You may or may not have had an actual anxiety disorder when those were going on, but the tendency is that you develop an anxiety disorder if that's been an issue earlier in your life. Also, minority groups. This is one that I didn't really think about. This is one that I identified whenever I was doing some studying and research over this. Usually adjusting to a new culture can be very stressful, especially if it's long term and you're having trouble for the adjustment. It's life-changing, life-altering. It's a shock, okay? Also, you might feel alienated. Maybe racism is an issue. Well, I know it's an issue, but maybe it's an issue for you if you're a minority. And also the feeling of being inferior. So those are some risk factors as well. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, just because you fall under one of these risk factors does not mean that you have an anxiety disorder, okay? You need to go see a professional to actually get diagnosed. Don't self-diagnose, okay? That's the moral of the story today. So guys, if you got value, please do me a favor and hit the like button. And again, leave me a comment if any of these are risk factors for you. If you just want to say, hey, what's up, or give me your anxiety disorder story, you can go ahead and share that down below. Whatever you want to share down below, it's all welcome. That's what that comment section is for. If you want tips to overcome your anxiety disorder or stress or depression, even addiction, this can help as well. Those are down below. You click that little black arrow, you will get my description. The tips will be at the top. The next one's very, very important. I've been talking about speaking with a professional, a therapist, a psychologist, a counselor. This also will help great if you have addiction issues, because we're talking about substance abuse as well. There's online therapy. It's very, very affordable. It's cheaper than in-person therapy. You can talk to the person on the phone like this, via video. You can do it on a laptop, a PC, a tablet, very convenient. You don't even have to leave the house. You can choose from hundreds and thousands of professionals. So you can find somebody that will identify with you in the best way instead of just going to these one or two options in your small hometown. Also, there are journals, workbooks, and books and other resources below that link. You'll see those down there in the description. Try those out. Journaling is crucial for anxiety recovery, so if you haven't given that a try, do it. My social media, so my Snapchat, my Twitter, my Instagram, it's all down there. The Facebook group is another important link. Please join that if you haven't. If you haven't joined that, I don't know what you're waiting on. It's a huge family now, over 35,000 people. I cannot believe how fast that group is growing. Join that group and be a part of that family. All anxiety disorder sufferers and depression sufferers are welcome in that group. So be a part of that. Guys, again, like this video if you got value. Leave me a comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't, and hit the notification bell so you can get updates when I put these videos out. I love you guys. I hope you're doing great. Keep fighting in your battles of anxiety, and I will talk to you guys later.